Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a super fun, super interesting, and unfortunately a little bit disappointing video for you guys this evening as we're playing the recently released, as of yesterday, Sonic and the Moon Facility. This is basically a near complete build of a game that fans are making. Unfortunately it was cancelled sometime last year because of some team issues, but someone from the development team released everything that they had, and the good news is there is a fully playable game here. You just have to play it with Sonic because the plan was to have a bunch of different characters, but right now if you want to play the game from start to finish, you only get Sonic the Hedgehog, and that is probably how it's going to be. So it is a bummer that this game was never fully completed, but what is here feels like 95% of a complete game for one character, and because the game is so incredibly fun and intriguing and has a ton of new mechanics, it is 100% worth your time in playing. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. But Sonic fan games have a rich and storied history of doing things that even Sega didn't do, and Sonic and the Moon Facility has so many unique and interesting power-ups, a ton of fun levels, different bosses, and some great secret hidden areas to get Chaos Emeralds. There really is a ton of meat on the bone here, even if it isn't a finished game. Just go into it not expecting to be able to play the game with every single character you were supposed to, but just grab Sonic, play the game start to finish, and realize that what was here was absolutely an awesome idea. And if this looks familiar or sounds familiar, it's by the same team that made Sonic and the Fallen Star, which I said was one of the best Sonic fan games of all time. And it seems like Sonic and the Moon Facility was on its way to getting that same moniker. I love the level design and layout. The new enemies are absolutely fantastic. The boss encounters are definitely interesting and varied. It really just had all the hallmarks of being something, if it had been finished, would have been one of those all-time greats. But that is just the reality of game development, whether you're a bunch of fans making a game in a franchise you love, or if you're a professional development studio. More often than not, games will not actually get to the finish line. Sometimes they're just in prototype stages, sometimes they're very close to release and still get cancelled. And that is the bummer of Sonic and the Moon Facility. There is a ton here, it just didn't actually get buttoned up. But like I said, the best part is there is a full campaign and game in here for Sonic the Hedgehog, and that is enough to absolutely recommend this game. I love the boss battles. I love how strange and interesting the bosses look. We're just basically fighting what looks like a big white monolithic terminal here with a giant spike and a screen. It has a completely different vibe than pretty much every other Sonic fan game that's come before it. And I love the theming of all of the different levels. This alpine area here with all of the parallax scrolling in the background just looks absolutely spectacular. And I would say that the level layout is quite good as well. There's a few areas in which you can kind of get lost. Feels like maybe there needed to be a couple more days of development time on some of the levels layouts, but otherwise, if you can look past that, this is a ton of fun. And I love Sonic fan games. I would say they probably get some of the best content out there. I just love the love for Sega and how many people want to continue to make 2D Sonic games, because it's not like Sega gives us that many whatsoever. It's one of those things. Sonic started as 2D, it's how basically all of us encountered him, but Sega just seems to be making more and more Sonic 3D games that range in quality from relatively decent to absolutely abysmal. And that's not a knock on Sega, you know, I absolutely love them on the channel, but we really haven't had a genuinely amazing Sonic the Hedgehog game since Sonic Mania, in my opinion. Some of the other games like Sonic Frontiers were a lot of fun and inventive, but just didn't hit as well as I'd hoped they would. But something like a fan 2D Sonic game just sometimes hits, and this one definitely does. The best part is, it seems to be feature complete, at least on the Sonic the Hedgehog campaign. You get 50 rings, you hit a checkpoint, you can go into a pinball minigame, and there are going to be Chaos Emeralds throughout the game, and I'll show you one in just a moment. And I love this gigantic mechanical frog boss here. Feels like maybe the boss's animations aren't 100% complete, but they are good enough for you to absolutely have fun with the game. That's what I really want you to understand. Even though it isn't finished, it's 100% fun, and it is worth playing to see what they were working on. And I'm so glad the development team decided to release this even though it isn't finished, because a lot of times these things just get shelved, they get deleted off hard drives, or otherwise just sit around languishing forever. So it really is a nice move for the development team to say, you know what, we couldn't get it to the finish line. That happens sometimes, but here's what we're working on. There still is fun to be had, and I want you guys to experience that. And you even get these Chaos Emerald areas that both go into a pseudo 3D environment as well as a shmup, which is something I really haven't seen done much at all in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, whether made by Sega or fans, so it is a really nice twist. And the best part is, unfortunately, even though the game didn't get finished, the music's absolutely spectacular. 45 seconds and I'll be right back. Awesome soundtrack. When we talked about Sonic and the Fallen Star, I had the exact same thing to say about that as well. And as we move into the next boss battle here, I love how absolutely massive some of these sprites are. At least I believe they are sprites. It could technically be 3D polygons just masquerading as a flat image. But this ship here definitely, again, doesn't feel like it's 100% finished, but the mechanics are there, and you can absolutely get the overall sensation of what the boss battle is supposed to be. You have to wait for these platforms to come out to go ahead and knock off those two basic artillery batteries at the top of the ship until you knock that top part off, and then you have all of these different robots popping out and the weak spot, a lot of different things obstructing you in the play field, and you also have that chain gun basically shooting all the way down the screen that you need to hop over effectively so you don't take damage. It's a lot of fun, and every single boss battle definitely shows this is exactly what Sonic and the Moon Facility was going for, and I definitely do like it. I absolutely love the colorways as well. You know I love my pastels and some of my neons on the channel. It is just a particular look that I'm always supportive of, and I know not everyone loves it, but I appreciate when developers take a property, make a fan game out of it, make it feel familiar, but make it look completely different at the same time. As we move into Rapid Ravine Zone here, you're definitely getting into the water areas, which are an anxiety inducer as far as Sonic games are concerned. I don't have anxiety, but as a kid, when I would hear that water countdown, it's probably as close to the concept as I could possibly imagine, knowing something's coming and you really can't do much about it. But I love the underwater segments, I love the movement speed here, and again, I love the art style. This is maybe one of my favorite Sonic fan games as far as the level layout is concerned, the level theming, and the colors. But again, I am very predisposed to like this color palette. I use it a lot in my own personal work as a filmmaker, so your mileage may vary, but even those fish sprites there just look spectacular. And if you pay attention to the backgrounds, and of course they are moving very quickly, there is a ton of parallax basically everywhere. But this is one area in the game where you kind of get a little bit lost and have to navigate around. Maybe needed just one more development pass on the level structure to be perfect, but it is still like a 9 out of 10. And that is a ton of fun, and I do love all of these zip lines as well that you speed up. The movement tech in this game feels nice. Maybe Sonic feels a little bit slower than he usually does, but it just 100% works. And that is the thing, again, about canceled games. Just because they didn't get finished doesn't mean there's not a lot of fun to be had, and Sonic and the Moon Facility definitely delivers that fun. The other thing the game delivers is some challenge for sure, because some of the boss battles here are going to be long, and they are going to be quite difficult. Not in an unfair way, they just take a little bit longer than your standard traditional 2D Sonic game, but I really do like that. The nice thing is when you do get hit, the rings stay on screen just long enough for you to collect them. It feels like it's maybe a little bit longer than most Sonic games, but in the boss battles, that's definitely a welcome addition. And understanding the patterns and every single nuance to the bosses is going to be important if you want to continue to move on in the game and not just die over and over again. And I appreciate that the boss challenge was dialed up, and that is the best thing about something like Sonic and the Moon Facility. Even if you only have the full campaign for Sonic, that is enough for me personally. I would have loved to see what they were going to do with all of the other characters, but at least we got this much. And when you do beat the game, apparently you do get debug tools as well, so you can kind of play around with some of the other characters and areas in the game that weren't 100% complete. But I'm going to do one more soundtrack sample, 35 seconds, because again, whoever composed this music did an absolutely great job. And just to be aware, I have linked how you can play this game in the description below because I can't recommend it enough. But go ahead and listen for 35 seconds, hear what could have been, and I'll be back with a little bit more. Now I understand musical tastes, just like overall color tastes, are going to vary between the actual person viewing this, but for me, the music, the colors, and everything else in Sonic and the Moon Facility just 100% hit, and I'm absolutely there for all of the charming new enemies, all of the new levels and areas, and new gameplay concepts. It's one of those things, I just absolutely love Sonic the Hedgehog. I've been playing the game since the original game on Sega Genesis when I was a kid. It's one of those things, I play pretty much every single new Sonic game I can get my hands on, but in recent years, they really haven't been all that awesome awesome. It's really been up to the fan community to deliver some of those experiences you wish Sega would. And as far as Sonic and the Moon Facility is concerned, it definitely delivers that. Now, this is not a review. I do not review games that aren't finished. I'm just telling you that you would be missing out if you didn't play this, because what is here is absolutely spectacular, both in concept, presentation, and in gameplay. And it really does give you a look behind the development process, because again, there are a ton of games that just never get finished for one reason or another, and Sonic and the Moon Facility, at least at this point in time, is one of those. But you never know, maybe the development team will pick it back up in a year or two. Some things are never truly canceled, they just kind of take forever. I'm not promising that for this game in the least, but it is one of those situations you never know. But in the meantime, grab this game, download it, play Sonic's full campaign, and I promise you, you're going to have a ton of fun. You get your money back, and considering it is free, that really isn't much of a risk to me. And that is what I really love about Sonic fans. They go out there and they make games that don't exist just so we have more fun to play, and Sonic and the Moon Facility is definitely one of those games. But we're done, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.